For some of you watching this, you may be shocked that a 39-year-old woman is getting drunk for the first time. Hey everyone, I am going to be talking to you about an experience I had over the weekend. I really hesitate to talk about this because it's one of those taboo things to talk about in most circles probably, but I'm going to talk about it because it seems the taboo things are the things that need to be talked about the most sometimes. Yesterday, I didn't feel so well, and so I had Rainier in pull-ups the whole day and didn't really pay much attention to getting him on the potty. And then this morning, I got back on the bandwagon, put him in underwear because I'm trying to potty train him. And within an hour, he peed in his underwear and all over the floor. And I just thought, yeah, totally, that would happen because yesterday I wasn't really paying attention to you going on the potty and you kind of reverted back to going in your diaper or pull-up. I couldn't really do that yesterday because yesterday I had a hangover. It's really weird to even just say that word out loud. One, because I've never had a hangover before. And the other because of what I already said, that it's kind of taboo to talk about these things. So Saturday night, Ben and I went out with some friends and we had a lot of fun and we drank a lot. I drank a lot, more than I've ever drank before. I had 7 shots, I believe. 6 of those were mixed in 3 apple teenies. And one was like, the 7th shot was like some sort of weird chocolate shot thing. And it was a really cool experience for me. I don't know if it's my personality or what, but I deal with a lot of inhibitions that I wish weren't there. Being able to do a lot of things that I wish I could do. I mean, sometimes I look at someone else and I think, man, I wish I could do that. One of those things is just dancing in front of other people and just not giving a shit. And I was able to do that on Saturday night. And I think that's really cool. It's a cool experience that I now have in my memory. The question I've asked myself, oh, did I drink too much? But what does that even mean? Like, if I didn't want to get sick, yeah, maybe I did. But I've never tried this before. So in that way, I don't think I regret it. And then the next morning, I did deal with some regret and maybe even some shame. I don't really know, but it was a pretty small amount and it didn't last very long. I think part of the reason why I dealt with that regret was anytime I do something really new that's really out of my comfort zone, I feel regret. And so I think a lot of it just had to do with that. I also think a lot of it had to do with my background in being in conservative evangelical Christianity, where in some ways drinking wasn't even a good idea, or it was kind of frowned upon, but definitely drinking too much, enough that you lose inhibitions or control and get sick, was like a really big no-no. So even though I don't see anything morally wrong with that now, I think I still have things stored inside of me of memories and just things that I was told and I was taught that haven't gone away. And I used to see drunkenness or being out of control as, at its best, irresponsible, at its worst, totally ungodly. Someone you don't want your kids around. I mean, it just like wasn't good at all. I don't really see anything inherently wrong with drinking alcohol or drinking a lot of alcohol. I can see problems that can come about with doing that, for sure. But I think it's each person's individual choice and journey as to what they think they want, how much can they handle. It's just not black or white to me anymore. This scenario then comes up the next morning. I'm just in bed, couldn't get out of bed. If I got out of bed, I felt like I was getting cold sweats and felt like I was totally gonna puke. Until like noon, I felt this way. I finally was able to get out of bed. So some of my kids were just kind of like, what's up? Why are you not feeling very good? And I don't know if it was my mother-in-law or someone was like, are you pregnant? And at first I just decided, oh, I'm just gonna make something up. Oh, I ate something bad, or oh, I just feel nauseous for some reason. I don't know why. And then I started to think about it, especially because memory asked me, and I started to think, should I tell her the real reason I'm sick? And why wouldn't I tell her? And why would I tell her? I eventually came to just want to tell her the truth. I think I didn't at first because, first of all, this is like super new territory for me to talk about with the kids. But alcohol in our house isn't taboo, it's not wrong. And to just say, yeah, I had this much, too much, and that's why I got sick the next day, could really actually be a good thing to say to them, because it teaches them about, oh, if you have a certain amount of alcohol, usually this happens. Instead of just sheltering them from that, that's the decision I came to, was I'm just gonna tell her the truth. For some of you watching this, you may be shocked that a 39-year-old woman is getting drunk for the first time, because a lot of people do that kind of thing in their late teens, in their 20s, early 30s, not late 30s with 6 kids and married. But then I'm just like, why not? Like, why is it just categorized for that time in your life? And if it's in any other time in your life, you gotta definitely hide it, because that's considered immature behavior, irresponsible. I don't know, these are just all these things I was starting to think about. I was like, well, why is it that way? That's interesting. I feel like a lot of people are gonna kind of write my whole experience off as to, well, you didn't really have these kinds of experience in your teenage years and in your 20s, so now you're feeling the need to experience it now. I would say there's definitely some truth in that. The problem I have with those kinds of statements is they're usually loaded with, and therefore that's why you're doing it, and therefore that's why you shouldn't do it, and therefore that's why you should have done it in your past, because doing it now, not such a good idea. Like, my experience is kind of dismissed as, oh, she's just acting out because midlife crisis or whatever, acting out because she didn't have this growing up. And that doesn't feel like that's the full picture for me. I think when people say that, a lot of times there's this underlying assumption that, oh, once you like are drunk enough times, you're gonna get over it and realize that's not a good idea, and you'll just decide, oh, I should just be sober and I should just be a good mom and not do those things. And I just see these experiences as just adding to my expanding of my worldview, my perspective as a person. And I think I'm gonna carry it with me throughout my whole life. I don't think I'm just like, oh shit, like I shouldn't have done that. I'm not gonna ever do that again. That's just not how I see it. I just get frustrated when, you know, people share an experience and then, and I know I've done this too, but you just immediately think, oh, I know why you're doing this. And it's not validating the person's experience at all. It's very narrow. It's like pushing it into this like little box and saying, the only reason why you did this is this. When maybe it's way more expansive than that. I don't know. That was my experience that I wanted to share with you guys. I think it's just important to talk about things in our culture that might bring shame, and a lot of the reason why it brings shame is because we don't talk about it in healthy ways. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it. I hope some of you got a good laugh or a good shock or a good, oh yeah, I remember when I did this moments through my sharing of my experience. And maybe even some of you can feel less shame around your experiences. See you guys tomorrow.